grade 9s, today I'm going to make a video for assignment number 4, lesson 3, and it's about planning a special event, planning a party. So what I want you to do is I want you to go get yourself a pencil, a piece of paper, maybe a calculator, so that you can do some math with me while you're watching this video. That's going to help you learn a lot better. So we are going to look at this page from the assignment, lesson 3, planning a special event. And there are 3 menus that we need to pick from. We can choose menu 1, menu 2, menu 3. They each have an algebraic representation or an algebraic model, an equation, and we want to graph them. And we're going to graph them using Desmos eventually. Now, what I want to remind you is that if you want to graph something, you're going to need to make a table of values. We can't graph yet without using a table of values. So that's our first step that we're going to do together. We are going to make a table of values for menu 1 and menu 2 together, and then I'll leave you menu 3 for homework. So I'm going to look at my algebraic model or my equation. I'm going to make a table of values so that I can graph. So N would be the number of people coming to my party. C is the cost. My table of values, I always like it to be nice. So I have these 2 numbers here. 1 is the rate of change, 1 is the initial value. The rate of change is always the number that's next to the variable or the letter. So that means it's jumping by 10 each time. And that means it must start, the initial value must be 200. So it starts at 200 and then it goes up by 10. So 210, 220, 230, 240. That's a beautiful table of values, but it's not going to help us fill in their numeric model or their table of values, because their table of values has 25, 50, 75, 100, 125. Very different from ours. Okay, so that means that I'm going to have to use this algebraic model or this equation to find these answers or to fill in my table. Okay, so let's write down our algebraic model, our equation. Okay, so somehow using this equation, I should be able to complete the table. So we know that our N is 25. My N is 25. That means I can cross off this N and put a 25 there. So I have 10 times 25, which is 250, plus 200 gives me 450. So that means when you have 25 people coming to your party, the cost is $450. We need to do that for all of them. Next part, my N is equal to 50. So C is equal, you always write down the same algebraic model. You start with this equation and then you find the answer. So now my N is 50. So I cross off my N, I put a 50 here. 10 times 50 is 500 plus 200 gives me 700. And you could go ahead and you could complete the whole table of values like that so that you could then make your graph. So we made a great table of values on my chart paper, but what the assignment asks you to do is to make that table of values in Desmos. So you need to go to Desmos, click on that plus sign, and then click on the table of values. And then we can make our table of values in Desmos. So we want to enter the X numbers and we want to enter the Y numbers. We know that to find the Y, we had to do 10 times 25 plus 200, 10 times 50 plus 200, 10 times 75 plus 200. But we don't want to put the math in there. We actually want to put the answers. So this would be my table of values. And you might need to change your settings so that you can see your graph. But if you zoom out and you fix the settings, you can see that I've got this beautiful graph with those points going up on the graph. So now we want to do the same thing for menu 2, where the jumping number is 14 because the 14 has the N next to it. So it's going up $14 every person, but it also started at 200. And so we want to make the table of values or fill in the table of values that they have. And so we're going to have to use the equation to do that. So that means if X is 0, I have 14 times 0 plus 200. If X is 50, I have 14 times 50 plus 200. If x is 100, I have 14 times 100 plus 200, and so on and so on. Those aren't the numbers you actually want to enter into Desmos. You actually want to enter the final answer. So you want to enter this table of values into Desmos. And when you do that, you are going to get this graph. Those red dots are going to be steeper or going above or growing faster than the green dots. And the reason that happens is because in the green dots, it was just going up, I believe it was going up 10 every time for every person. But in menu 2, it's actually going up $14 for every person. So it's jumping more each person. And that's why the graph is steeper. So what we want to do now is we want to look at question number 3, where it asks us to find the rate of change and the initial value for menu 1. And so when you look at menu 1, don't forget the equation was C is equal to 10n plus 200. So it's jumping by 10 and it started at 200. That means the rate of change is $10 every person. That means for every extra person who comes to your party, you need to pay $10 extra. And the initial amount would be $200. That means right at the beginning, before anyone even comes to your party, you need to pay $200 at the beginning. So what I want you to notice is that question number 4 asks you to find the rate of change and initial value for menu 2 and menu 3. So let's look at menu 2 again. We made the table of values for that one already, and we know that the equation is C is equal to 14n plus 200. That means it's jumping 14 every time, and it starts at 200. So that means my rate of change would be it's going up $14 every person, and the initial amount would be $200. So this is your homework for tonight. Your homework for tonight is you need to do all this math for menu number 3. Here's menu number 3, cost is equal to 18n plus 200. You need to make a table of values for that equation. You can have your table of values jump 25, 50, 75, 100 like the first one, or you can have it jump 0, 50, 100, 150, 200 like the second one. It's your choice, but you're going to need to use the equation in order to find those numbers in the table. And then you need to complete this little chart. We know that the rate of change for menu 2 was 14 and the initial value was 200. We want to do the same thing for menu 3. What's the rate of change for menu 3? And what's the initial amount for table number 3 or for menu number 3? That is your homework. Make one table of values and complete this little chart here. So if you have questions and you need help, I understand it's really hard learning at home. Don't forget, I am on Google Meet every day between 1:30 and 3, and I would love to help you. So please just log on. You don't need to be shy because often I'm on Google Meet all by myself and there's no one else there. So please join Google Meet and ask me your questions if you have any. You can find the link to Google Meet in the bio of my Instagram page. And then what I would like you to do is, if you don't mind, could you please leave me a little comment in my YouTube channel after you've watched this video, even just like a thumbs up or something, because it just really helps me to know that you've watched it. And I love to know who's watching so I know that you're learning at home, even though we're not in school right now. So please take care of yourself, have a beautiful day, and enjoy this video. And remember, I'm here to help you. I'm not here to stress you out. I'm here to help you learn. So if you have any questions, please, I would love to help you.